Hi, I'm Casey from the Courage Project, and I wanted to share with you a few strategies and some principles that I've been using to help myself and my clients survive emotionally during this time. The time that I'm talking about is the COVID virus and this new situation that we find ourselves in. There are so many of us that have never experienced anything like this before, so it's perfectly normal that we would feel fearful, that we would experience panic rising up, and it can be really tempting to give in to that. And at this time, we often find ourselves trying to control the situation. I am the first to admit that I am a recovering control freak and a perfectionist. So at this time, I've been very, very tempted to overschedule my son's schooling at home and to get snappy with people, to blame people, but all of that kind of behavior is just not serving me. So I decided to flip it and look at what I wanted to use this time for. So I want to share with you a few principles, and the first one is called Know Your Outcome. So these principles are based on the teachings and learnings of NLP, and these come from the Coaching Institute, the particular ones that I'm talking about. So the first one being Know Your Outcome. A lot of us know a whole lot about what we don't want to experience, what we're not enjoying in life, but very few of us actually are focusing on what our outcome is, what we do actually want. We might not have a lot of clarity around this. We might have a general idea, but perhaps not a lot of clarity. So Zig Ziglar said, if you aim, I think it's something, I'm probably going to muck this up, but if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. So that, to me, in this current climate that we're in, tells me that if we don't have a clear outcome of what we're trying to achieve during this time, then we're just kind of going to be flapping around and making a whole bunch of mistakes and not really acting in the best way that we could possibly be acting. So you might be tempted to think, well, I just want to survive this. Survive for me is not an empowering word. It might be for you, and if it is, go for it. But for me, I really had to come back to my values to really find my outcome for this situation. So what I would recommend doing to find your outcome, to really understand what you want to achieve during this time, is to come back to your values. What if you are very strong about what you don't want, flip it. What's the opposite of that? So say, for example, if you are feeling panic and fear at this time, you find yourself a little bit more irritable and a little bit more snappy, and you're not liking that. Perhaps the situation in your household might be really tense. It might feel like you're walking on eggshells, or it might feel like that for other people. So if the opposite of that is calm, think about ways that you can bring that calm. What do you need to do to bring calm into that household, or just into your own inner being? Even if there's chaos around in your household, how can you have that calm on the inside? It might be about looking after yourself in terms of maybe you just need to find some time to have a quiet cup of tea. Maybe it's about getting up earlier and doing some meditation. Maybe it's about having a mantra. I know some of my colleagues have a mantra of, the crazier they get, the calmer I am. And if that works for you, go for it. So coming back to your values, let's talk about that. For me, instead of fretting about whether my son was going to be learning enough, whether he was going to be falling behind, I decided that I would use this time for connection. So I've been spending a lot more time connecting with my son, doing activities that we really love doing together. We're reading together. I'm finding out more about him. I'm doing things I'm not all that passionate about, like, building Gravitrax and Lego and, taking him outside to play the football. They're not things I'm passionate about, but seeing the joy on his face when I'm doing those things with him, that is what I'm passionate about. Connection is a big driver for me, so I'm coming back to that. I've also been really tempted to freak out about whether I'm going to lose clients because so many people may not have the money to afford coaching at this time. And the way that I kind of got out of that fear is to think about, well, how can I serve? How can I contribute? This is a time when I can actually give. So I've set up a homeschooling resources page, a group on Facebook, where I can support other parents who have no idea about how to teach their children during this time, and more so just activities that they can be doing together, some so that the parents can still work and some so that of activities that they can do with their children. Another thing that I'm concerned about is my parents' health, because obviously they're a lot older, so they're at a higher risk than I am. And I could just spiral right down thinking about that. But instead, I've thought of ways to connect with them in this time, and we're having Zoom calls together, and I'm trying to be the one that brings the light and the joy and the compassion into their lives. Compassion's another big driver for me. So when people are acting out of fear, instead of judging them, I'm trying to bring compassion to the situation, trying to understand, why are they acting like that? What are they scared of? Can I understand and connect with them? Can I find that in myself? Can I act with compassion at that time? When the people in my life are freaking out and having major concerns and spiraling down, can I bring compassion to them? Can I hold space for them and listen to them? Can I give some words of encouragement or support? These are the things that I'm using to help myself during this time. So what I'd like you to do if you're really struggling at this point is to think about, in 12 months' time, when this is all hopefully over, how do I want to be looking back on this? Am I going to be looking back on this situation with pride? Am I going to be proud of the way that I handled it? Are there lessons that you could be learning in this time that you can be grateful for in 12 months' time? Who do you want to be? What kind of person do you need to be for the people in your life, whether it be housemates or family, children, loved ones, your community, society on a much larger scale? Who do you need to be? What can you do? What skills can you share? This is a time where we get to really choose whether we're going to be fearful, whether we're going to give into the panic, and we would be well within our rights to do that. It is a time that is so unique and quite scary, but we don't have to. We can experience those feelings, we can process them, but we can also choose to thrive rather than just survive. We can choose to rise up and to be our own hero, and even be a hero for others. If you want to unpack any of this, feel free to get in touch if you feel like you need support. But I trust that this has been valuable to you and has given you some things to think about and a way to shift your mindset, to shift perception, so that you can feel in control of the one thing that you actually can control, yourself. I'm Casey from the Courage Project, and I'll see you soon.